In 1979, President Jimmy Carter installed 32 solar panels on the roof of the White House. It was a symbol for the world to see and to inspire us to move to renewable energy.
In the year 2000, the solar water heater behind me, which is being dedicated today, will still be here, supplying cheap, efficient energy. A generation from now, this solar heater can either be a curiosity, a museum piece, an example of a road not taken, or it can be just a small part of one of the greatest and most exciting adventures ever undertaken by the American people, harnessing the power of the sun to enrich our lives as we move away from our crippling dependence on foreign oil.
They were removed in 1986 and dumped inside of a warehouse in Virginia. In 1992, Peter Marbach from Unity College in Maine drove down in a bus and picked them up. They installed 16 of them on the roof of the college's cafeteria, where they heated the water for the cafeteria for 12 years. They remain on the roof as a symbol to inspire students and to show their dedication to renewable energy. This week, several students from Unity College and environmentalist Bill McKibben strapped one of the original solar panels that was on the roof of the White House to the back of a veggie biodiesel van and drove from Maine to D.C. to present it to President Obama. They are asking Obama to install this one back on the roof as recognition of Carter's great commitment to renewable energy and to inspire renewable energy development and installation of solar panels on houses and buildings everywhere. Along the way, people who supported this signed the panel and urged President Obama to put solar on it. They arrived in D.C. yesterday on September 9, 2010, and held a rally at All Souls Church on 16th Street Northwest, where the panel was on display and several speakers were on hand.
So my name is Bill, I'm with 350.org, and I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you for coming. We're going to get started in just a minute, but first I just want to introduce our friend here, the Jimmy Carter solar panels that were installed by some of the folks in this room, one of the folks in this room, which we will hear from very shortly. So in 1979 they were installed, and shortly afterward, and I'll let the folks from Unity College tell the story, shortly afterward they were removed by the next president, Ronald Reagan, and they ended up at Unity College. And we're excited to welcome the solar panel back to Washington, D.C., where it belongs. And to kick off tonight, we've got a great lineup. We've got Yearwood, we've got folks from all around the city. We've got folks all the way down from Unity College out in Maine, came down with the solar panel. We've got Mike Tidwell, and we've got, of course, Bill McKibben to kick it off. But to kick it off, I just wanted to introduce one of my heroes, an environmental justice advocate, a peace activist, a climate warrior, and the director of the Hip Hop Caucus, Reverend Lennox Yearwood.
I'm honored to be here at this discussion and this push to put the solar panels back on the White House. Yes. I'm excited because, one of the things we've been pushing is that we can fight poverty and pollution at the same time. And so how we can do that by creating green and clean energy jobs that can go and we can put people back to work. And so one of the ways that we can do that is by, creating solar panels and putting them on people's homes. And I can tell you, make my job much more easier in the hood, if in the hill, or they say from the streets of Hamburg into the suites. They would put the solar panels. So it would make my job so much easier if the White House had solar panels back there. up with the fact that we can drink from the same water fountains and go to the same hotels, but our movement is more than equality. It is about existence. If we lose this movement, it isn't just about drinking the same water fountain, it's from drinking the water at all. It's about breathing the air at all. This movement, right now, that we are embarking on, is more than the color of one's hue. This movement that we are on is about humanity. So when we stand here to put the solar panels on the White House, it isn't just for decorations. We are discussing that the most powerful symbol in the world, where the most powerful person lives, needs to lead this movement and put solar panels and begin the transition from fossil fuels to clean energy now.
And I want to bring up my friend Pam Sparr here from All Souls Church, a faith leader who's going to talk a little bit about working with faith groups.
On behalf of all those who consider this space and this community their spiritual home, I'd like to welcome you to All Souls Church here in Washington, D.C. My name is Pam Sparr, and I've been a member here about 18 years, a few gray hairs, and I also founded the committee here at our church that catalyzes and champions environmental justice and joy. It's a real pleasure to welcome you all here. Reverend Yearwood, thanks for starting us off with putting the spirit in the movement where it belongs. And we want to welcome Bill McKibben and all the volunteers and staff of 350.org, and anyone who's not included in that umbrella, please welcome. And we want to give a special welcome to the guest of honor, the Jimmy Carter. So, yeah. I've been asked to speak really briefly about our denomination's commitment to addressing climate change and why this church is really particularly pleased and honored and proud to have it here with us this evening. But before I do, I'd like to introduce you to a Unitarian Universalist tradition, which is to light a chalice before we begin worship, before we have any meetings. And Heather Driscoll from our church is going to light it. But I'd like to explain to you that she's lighting it with a very special candle. That candle comes to us from Copenhagen. I got it at a huge interfaith worship service that occurred between week 1 and week 2 of the UNFCCC negotiations. That candle comes blessed by Archbishop Tutu, and it was carried out of the cathedral in Copenhagen to the tune of 350 ringing sounds of the bell. So it brings the spirit of Copenhagen into this room, and I also hope, as Heather lights the chalice there, that it brings the spirit of the rest of the human family here with us, the yearning to live in right relationship with the earth and with each other. And I hope it brings to mind, our minds and heart, the spirit of all of those who peacefully marched on the streets in Copenhagen, which may include several of you, in support of doing the right thing right now. For Unitarian Universalists, the flaming chalice carries great symbolism. It reminds us of the spark of the divine in every person. And indeed, one of our common covenants is to respect the dignity of every human being. And we bring this perspective into our climate change work. We see cutting carbon emissions and addressing the harmful effects that are already happening as a profound justice issue, as well as a spiritual and